Have a chance to look back at Friday's performance, what stands out most to you from that? Because like for the analytics nerds, there's a lot of numbers there that are extremely impressive. Like what stands out to you most about a 17 strikeout, program record tying kind of outing?
I think the work that went into him getting to that moment, the experience, the adjustments that he continues to make, just small tweaks that he's able to do and go implement in the game really quickly. So I guess it's all the stuff behind the scenes that led to that kind of moment of striking out 17. And I know he probably wanted to go even further into the game, and he was still throwing, high 90s, late into the game. So maintaining that, the work he puts in the weight room, all those kind of things. As it was happening, I kind of lost track of strikeouts. I wasn't really tracking those throughout the duration, but it was, when you see someone have success and continued success, not just one hitter, but throughout, the duration of a game or a weekend or a season, you start to think back everything that they've been doing to get to that point. Now, granted, it's one game, and we have another one here in a couple days. But you see these young men grow up and continue to mature, and when they go out and have success, that kind of is just a big smile moment for everyone, knowing, hey, you work hard and you put in the right time. Good things can happen, and all Dax wants to do is go out and help his team win, and he did that very thing that night. I don't think it was much of concern, or why he wanted to stay in the game was to strike out more. It was more to go out and compete and win. And but man, he works incredibly hard. There's no doubt.
So that we don't over dramatize, like when he talks about making a lower body adjustment and the mechanics, like that's part of baseball. That's part of pitching.
Yep.
So but when people see the results of 17 strikeouts and I made an adjustment, it's the greatest adjustment, like some dramatic thing. So like how significant or not, or like you say, more about the process of the significance of being able to make a small tweak that then leads to great results quickly.
When you talk about mechanics, sometimes we can get really internal, and then when you're out there competing on the mound, you're sometimes not competing because you're focusing on your body, your hand path, or where your foot's landing, or you name it. The best version of you comes out when you're focusing on getting that guy out. Pitch execution, and able to turn the page when something bad happens or didn't go as planned, call didn't go your way, or a ball dribbled in somewhere, you missed a spot. And something for Dax, just like staying in line just a little bit more. What that does, like as you work up the chain, when his feet are in line, his hand climbs up on top, he has a better slot, he's getting more spin, more ride, and so you're seeing more whiff in zone and out of zone whiff and chase. And so it's sometimes you give guys an internal cue that they need to work on, and it can really hinder them when they're going into the next week. And so I look at, knowing the type of guy that he is, you can give him those kind of cues, he'll make an adjustment, and when the game happens, he's going to go out and compete, not think about it. And even if there was a moment of, we go through we call it the funnel, learn, control, plan, commit. And after a pitch, if you should be learning something, what went right, what went wrong, be able to control your breath, and then make that plan and go commit to that plan. And you can't get stuck in just the learn phase or the internal pieces of what's going on. Otherwise, that's going to prevent you from committing to what you're about to go do, which usually doesn't go well. And so, as small of a thing as it really was with his adjustment, it still is something that not everyone's able to go out and do yet. And it's encouraging, because when you give someone that kind of instruction and they're able to go out and do it, you can continue to go down that road, because there's still a lot more for each guy in that clubhouse, whether it's a player or a coach. There's vast amounts of improvement that still need to happen. And so we just keep looking for those moments and trying to find ways to communicate them. Sometimes it's grabbing a guy and doing work one-on-one. Sometimes it's getting a committee of players or coaches to wrap around a guy to get him to move a certain direction. And so it's just like you're constantly learning how to coach each guy. And that can change day to day too, depending on what they're going through away from the field or at the field, right? And It's like how our offense is feeling right now. We're not producing. Our pitching staff's doing a great job. What can we do to make this thing better? We want to, carry our weight and then some. And so that can lead to pressing a little bit harder than you should, which in turn leads to worse results. So there's an art form in that as well, as we coach up the hitters and our offensive identity as we move forward.
Were you surprised just how quick Dax was able to make that change, just going from week 1 to week 2?
No,
No.
he's pretty good. He is very level-headed. Not really when we bring it up to him. Sometimes us as coaches will sit down and communicate a lot about here's what we've identified, when's the right time, who's the best person to talk to him about it. For Dax, if you notice anything, you can just go talk to him about it pretty quick. You don't really have to over-process it because he's not going to overanalyze any of it. He's going to sit there, have a conversation. If he doesn't understand, he's going to ask questions. But really, very minor things, so not to make it too big of a deal. But, as we see things and we collect a lot of information, as we see things start to transform, maybe we don't want to jump the gun. A mentor of mine once said it's better to be 3 days late than a day early, because sometimes they work it out themselves, or it just could be a fluke. Every time they throw a pitch, we don't want to coach that last pitch over and over, where they're just constantly seeking feedback. They're kind of getting competitive and feeling it out. Yeah.
What are you seeing from the offense at this point? What is the observations?
They're not touching home as often as we want them to, so we're going to find ways to get around the bases. It's entirety. I think what I've noticed is most of our strikeouts are swinging and not from taking, and we're kind of in swing mode, pressing, and so we're moving the field to pull side. We're getting around a lot of balls or popping it up. That last game, too many pop-ups, winds blowing in, and so between striking out and popping up, those are two pretty high percentage ways of not to reach first base. And so we got to work on controlling the zone better, and hitting line drives, hard ground balls, that kind of stuff. Yes, based on the group we have. We also led the game off with a drag or a push bunt for a knock, and that was part of our game plan, but we only used it once. And so sticking with the game plan, regardless of the other team scoring a run or us not getting it done, I think it's less physical, more of a mental approach, pitch to pitch. And again, I know everyone wants it so stinking bad. Even when we get on the bases, it looks as if there are times we're not making great decisions because our brain is spinning a little the wrong direction. So it's resetting. We got in there and had a great offensive workout this morning, and it kind of opened our eyes a little bit more to this group and how we can become more competitive. But there were certain things in the game that I asked guys to do that they went up and they had a fairly successful inning. So you're just kind of still testing it out and saying, hey, what if we all go up there and we decided to choke up a little bit? What if we all decided to widen out? What if we all decided to get up on the dish a little bit more? What if we all decided to take till we get a strike? Are we tough enough to do that and not worry about falling behind if the guy did throw a strike? And so these first couple weeks are always a blessing if you allow them to be. A good friend of mine sent me a piece of scripture out of Romans today, Romans 5:1, and it kind of just sparked a little bit more enthusiasm for difficult times can lead to great opportunities. And even though it hasn't started as a whole the way we want, you're also seeing some bright sides with how Galloway and how Hubbard are handling the bat. And there's obviously a ton of potential there. It's just pulling it together sooner than later.
Are there any numbers that, yes, it's only 7 games and you're not playing Little Sisters of the Pool, so that's understood. But are there any numbers that are concerning to you right now?
Lack of runs scored.
Outside of that.
Well, because when you look at like first 7 games, you look at our offensive production versus our opponents, and it's roughly the same. Our batting average is the same as what our pitching staff. So it's like we're going out and facing our pitching staff every day, and that's not the case, right?
Yes.
We have faced some good arms. There's no doubt. I complimented them. I said to our guys, obviously, anytime anyone's going to play us, like, I would assume that they're going to bring their A game and they're going to want it more than ever. And playing playing the bees, I bet people would circle that one. The crowd that we had the first weekend Surprise, the atmosphere here at Goss, and guys saw that, and they, from my perspective, are pressing to get the job done as opposed to being confident and allowing that to happen. So when I look at those numbers being the same, that's like, okay, obviously we know something needs to get better. There's no doubt about that. And so it goes back to what's the work ethic that we need to do? Have we been doing the right drills? I believe so. Have we been putting, since day one, we've had runners on base. We've played high stress innings in our scrimmages, and however we go about our work, we've bunted 1,000,000 times. I do know that people expect the small ball game, and so we've practiced it over and over. High velocity, off speed stuff, putting stuff on the line, but then it's going and executing in the game, which a lot of time is taking a breath and not making it more than it is. There's just kind of squeezing it to death. You're choking the quality at bat just by wanting it so stinking bad. You gotta let it breathe a little bit and know that you've done enough work to get it done, so it becomes the trust, not only of yourself but of those around you. And when you see other guys that maybe aren't having the quality at bats, then okay, now I have to be the one to do all of it. We've only hit 2 home runs. Okay, if that's fine, but we shouldn't be pressing to go out and hit home runs. We should be getting quality at bats, getting guys on base, because when we do put the ball in play on the line or on the ground, good things do happen, especially with guys like Talt and Hayes and Singer and Vance, guys that can move down the line. Hey, put the ball in play, good things can happen. And then it's, reading body language. A lot of the video that we've been watching is when things don't go our way, what's happening in the box or as we get down the line, and we need to round first harder. It's just sad to say, but it's very true. We need to get around the bag, put pressure on the defense, and what I want is the defense to try to back pick us at first every time we get around the bag, to know that we're coming around, and if they do bobble it, we take second. That happened week 1. We put balls in play, they rush throws because they know we have some speed, and then good things happen for us. But if they don't feel our pressure, then it's really not going to help us at all.
Do you feel like there's either Cooper at third, or you told me about in left, whether you feel Adam or Josh has put themselves in position there, or is left more open, or is Cooper kind of solidified
I'd
third?
say like most all the positions, everything's always open, right? And that's the mentality to go through it, which can create pressure on guys, right? When you get in the game, I'm going to have to do everything possible. I need to get 3-4 hits here so I can play tomorrow. Whereas that's not the case. It's quality at bats, quality mind frame is going to get you in the game today, tomorrow, and the next day. And for those positions, right now early on, you're trying guys out. You're seeing how they react in the game and how they compete early and late. And so I haven't made Friday's lineup yet. Haven't even thought about it, to be honest with you. I do know that Dax is going to start, if you guys want to put that one out there.
Kleiny on Saturday.
I assume so. That's probably what we're going to go with. We haven't had much discussion there yet. But yeah, those are kind of things where we've seen that before in the past. I've done it when I was a player, and I'm pretty sure most others have as well, is when you have that opportunity to get in the game, you want to play tomorrow, so you're already worried about tomorrow, which causes more issues today. And if you're worried about what you did yesterday, I told one of the guys I did it in 05, I don't think I got a hit in the World Series. I was 0 for 9, and then we went back in 06. I didn't get a hit my first at-bat, I don't think. I don't know, don't fact check me on that one. But I just remember being like, hey, I've never gotten a hit in Omaha, and if it wasn't for that cap shot that I was able to beat out and to get the ball rolling, I felt the pressure then as well. I knew it because you want to be a productive member of the team, and so you start to press, which usually leads to worse things happening. So sometimes it's good to just put a reset button, make sure you understand that there's a whole bunch of other guys in your corner that do care about you and have your back. Darwin Barney always said it, I don't care if I get a hit or not. If we win, it's a great game. And I think that took a lot of pressure off him trying to go out and perform, or anyone else who has that mindset of what can I do to help our team win. And also celebrating when other guys are doing well, continuing to keep that going. So rather than sitting by the water cooler in a sea of despair, pay attention to the game and find things to celebrate, as opposed to worrying about, your own issues.
All right, last one.
Coach, I was talking to Ethan about he and Connor are the latest in this long line of pitchers coming from LB to
Yeah.
Oregon State. Just curious why the pipeline between those two programs is so strong, especially like what you've seen from Connor so far this year.
Well, they're right there. So it makes it easy for us to go see those guys as well. And having great relationships across the coaches in the Northwest. All of us coaches here are Northwest guys, right? Joey being from just north of here, about 45 minutes. Dorian Gipp being from right down in Southern Oregon as well. Myself being from Washington. Just having good relationships with those guys. And most of the guys on that staff are also former Oregon State alum as well. So it's just communications really high. They're right there. We're able to see them, and they do a great job developing. A lot of the guys up in the Northwest, all those programs, they do a great job, and they champion their players too. And so we're constantly getting communication from a lot of the coaches in the Northwest talking about their players, and they know, like, high character student athletes, with solid talent, like there's stuff that we're looking for. And so having trust with those guys or many other coaches out there goes a long ways. But they do a great job at their program, as do many others in the Northwest. And those are our kind of guys too, that aren't afraid to play in a little bit of precipitation or the sunshine, whatever is coming our way on a given day. But yeah, great folks.
Thanks, Mitch. Thanks, everyone.